massive shout out to Cleary for clipping out part of Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show, where I described the difference between an anti-flat earther and a globe believer. So another big shout out to Cleary. I will put a link to his original edit of this video in the info box and comments below, so go and subscribe to Cleary. A big shout out to you, my friend. Thank you very much for doing that. I'll strap the video that you made onto the end of this one. Subscribe today to Cleary. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
They had to say immaterial, which means it's a concept. So at least I got a glober on record saying that space-time is just a concept.
Anti-flat earther.
No, that was a glober. It was not a flat earther, it was a glober.
If you're having to correct them on their own rhetoric, because they're presumably in defiance of their own rhetoric because we've proved it wrong, at that point they're an anti-flat earther. So it's not touting the rhetoric, right? Pseudo for space, it's in the bloody title. So if you're having to make him concede that it's pseudo for space, then you're dealing with an anti-flat earther, not a glober. Same goes with
an anti-flat earther was.
Picture this.
Because
right?
the normies, I like a normal person, I just call them normie.
No, normie is somebody who doesn't really give it any consideration. They go about their general life, and if you ask them about living on a sphere, they'll have some basic notion of what that means, and they'd be able to roughly parrot off some garbage they heard on the Discovery Channel. That's a normal person. Now, a glober is somebody that comes to say, don't you realise we've measured Earth a sphere? Yeah, you can take a dip angle measurement, or something that's in line with Neil deGrasse Tyson and the High Priesthood of Globe. That's a glober. A glober is someone that toes the line of what the globe rhetoric says. Now, somebody who then comes across us, flat earthers, and realises that we disprove the rhetoric that the priest has them adhere to as a glober, they then brace against it and start arguing against things like their own rhetoric. For example, you and your reference frames have been ruined. Yeah, that's somebody bracing against the notion that Earth turns beneath things that aren't attached to show Coriolis effect to prove we spin. Someone who tells me as a flat earther that my reference frames are ruined is an anti-flat earther. They're already well into the cognitive dissonance. They're all into the realizing how we prove their rhetoric wrong and then coming up with workarounds to overcome arguments that prove globe arguments wrong. Now those people, Craig and Simon Dan and Katz and all those people, they're anti-flat earthers. Craig's even got it in his title, Fight the Flat Earth. He's not here because he's a proponent of globe. He doesn't fight the globe arguments. He fights the anti-flat earth arguments. He fights the rebuttals that destroy the globe argument. So another example would be Tim Osman. Nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve. End quote. Globers claim the horizon is Earth curve. But anti-flat earthers claim nobody claims the horizon is Earth curve. Do you see the distinction?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I just call them globe tards. That's why I named the song that.
Sure. Globe tard, globe head. Yeah, they're all kind of similar and they've got no distinction. And I wanted to draw a distinction that I did many years ago when it was just Reg Rhetoric and Sean and various other nobodies. Well, when it was just them, I was like, they are the anti-flat earth movement. So they're not the guy that I talk about when you look at the guy who's got a bazillion views on YouTube with a picture claimed to be Earthrise, taken from a second law of thermodynamics violation, and he sits there over the top of the picture in high def with a really nice mic and talks about how he feels and how the world is perceived to him because of this Earthrise picture. Now that'll get a bazillion views. Why? Because it's a glober, directly in line with the global rhetoric. He's not there telling his audience how, but when flat earthers say it's a second violation, no, he's not doing that. He's just towing the line of what globe means to him. That's a glober. Now, if that same guy then came across us and we literally had his video up and we're like, see this video, this guy babbling on about how he feels about space. He's talking about a place that doesn't exist. He's telling the world how his emotions are being governed by Narnia. And he comes along and goes, no, from what I understand, right, you claim we can't have gas pressure without a container, it would fill the vacuum of the sky. But I say the second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to a heliocentric model. Immediately, that distinguishes him from a glober. Yeah? It makes him an anti-flat earther. He's fighting against the flat earth arguments that destroys rhetoric, and he can't then just toe the line of the rhetoric. He has to come up with excuses. Well, gravity's a force, but I can think of it as a force, therefore it's an emergent force that holds gas here, even though it has no effect on entropy. That cluster screw is actually my explanation for why the sky vacuum doesn't violate the second law of thermodynamics. Said no globe believer ever. Globe believer says, yeah, of course space is real. We've got pictures from space. That's as far as a glober takes it. Yeah, NASA. So we occasionally get globers here. We never get anti-flat earthers here. And if we do, all they can do is Discord rumpus and cut off the rebuttals and attempt to censor what we say in rebuttal to glober arguments. So their task, if here, which is rare, is to obfuscate the devastating rebuttal reaching the audience. Because they can't respond to it. They can deliver a cluster screw and nonsense contradictions and cognitive pain, and then rumpus us. That's all they can do.
Santos Bonacci wants to have you on his podcast. And I was like, what am I going to add to, like, you know, what am I going to say? I would ask you the questions. You know what I mean? I don't know shit. You know, I listen to guys like you, David Weiss, Eric Dubay. You know, Nathan Oakley is my fucking favorite right now. I love Nathan Oakley.
Yeah, me too.
He demolishes
Absolutely.
people. Oh, man.
And Thompson, Nathan Thompson.
Yeah, Nathan Thompson. Nathan Oakley, 1980. Follow his, he does flat earth debates every day, live streams flat earth debates. Anybody could get on and, you know, and debate him, and he just demolishes everybody. There's so many good guys out there. So when they asked me, you know, Santos wants to put you on his podcast, I'm like, for what? What am I going to talk about? My strip club stories?